Couple of things before we start. I was asked to tell you, I know it's new, this is the first year we've had our concert here at Parsippany Hills High School. You need to use the restrooms out the door and to the left, and they'll be on the left side. Also, I please ask if you are going to be getting up, please wait between pieces. My name is Mr. Jenkins. I am the 6th grade band director and 8th grade band director at Football Middle School. This huge band behind me is the 6th grade band, but 130 members strong. Yeah, a lot bigger than the 88 we had last year. So it's really awesome to have all of them in the band, and thank you so much for coming out tonight. They've worked very hard since September to put this concert together, and I'm very proud of how they play, especially at such a young age. The first thing I want to talk about is, with the band, I always try to instill this community and this teamwork. And I was fortunate enough this year to go to the Midwest Music Clinic in Chicago. And something that I got out of a seminar with a percussion guy was that it was an ensemble that played. And they had a band motto before they announced the band. And I thought, what a really cool idea. So what I asked the kids to do is submit to me a bunch of different ideas for band mottos. And then we put it out for them to vote on. And about 50% of them voted on this one. And I think it's very nice. So it's when words fail, music speaks. So that's our motto for this year at Brookline. We're the 6th grade band. The first piece you're going to hear is called Fanfare and Fireworks. It's a very nice concert opener by Brian Balmages, and he composes great work from very tough pieces to very easy pieces. And I think of all the composers, he's one of my favorites for 6th grade, and the kids really do love it. So here you go. Here's Fanfare and Fireworks. Well, I give the percussion a second to set up. The next piece is called Enchanted Island. I always try to find a nice variety of music for them to play on different concerts. And this one is vastly different than Fanfare. It's a little bit slower, a little bit more melancholy, and definitely I describe it a lot more mysterious. And the kids, this is the first piece they read with me this year. I remember having that first down being going, okay, there's something to work with here. Right? So they've done a really nice job of it, and I'm pretty proud of it. So here's Enchanted Island. So one other thing that is really important for the band program here in Parsippany, we have a really unique thing. We have 5 elementary schools that get to feed into our 1 middle school, and then I get to ship them off to the high school after 3 years. And what I try to do is give them the most authentic band experience possible. And part of that is switching instruments. So at the beginning of the year, I started with about 26 or 27 percussionists. And that ain't gonna do. So I asked for volunteers. Are you interested in playing other instruments? And I was very happy that a lot of hands went up. And so I want to read off their names, and as your names are read, you can stand up. Okay? So switching from percussion, I believe, to bass clarinet was Josh Grader. And then we have Alexander Soltis and Andrew Yao. Stand up. Yeah. On tenor sax, Vaibhav Iyengar, Valmikri Venkar, and Marina. On bari sax, Ben Ginsberg, Tyler Lukowski, Leo Simbajan, and Jack Wentworth. All switched to bari sax this year. French horn, my entire French horn section switched. 4 of them from trumpet, 1 of them for percussion. So we have Yusuf, Darshan, Kyle, William Lanza, who was our percussionist, and Moses. Fuller French horn section. Switch to the back. On trombone, and starting an instrument this year completely, was by Shavi Marar and Sidney Powell. And last but not least, the bass of our band, he was really interested in playing tuba, that's Jake Tyndall. So as you see, a lot of them worked very hard to play these instruments, and we've done it in a matter of months, so it is awesome. The next piece is called The Water is Wide. Obviously, the band is very big this year, and so I thought it would be very nice to try to do little auditions to thin out the parts of it as like little solo groups. So I have for, I'll say the names after. But this next piece is The Water is Wide. It's a traditional tune, transcribed and put into a band arrangement by Julie Griffin. It's very pretty, and they've done a very great job of making it just sound so nice. So here's The Water is Wide. soloists were Ali Scolacci, Erica Chen, Emma Lipsky, Avery Harrington, and Audrey Gu, right? Well, okay, let's go. In the flutes, if you want to stand up. Then we had Allison Paterno, Anna Falcone, Amanda, Larry, Tia, and Jonathan in the clarinets. And alto saxophones, Daniel Mayank and Tuvatsa. Very nice job. They auditioned in front of their peers to be able to play that part in that group. So that was very brave of them, and I think it's just a really awesome job. So, I think our last piece is our favorite, right? Okay. Just making sure. Some of them are like, no, fanfares. We're like, yeah, Morpheus. Again, such a big percussion section. I really tried to search through what we had at Brooklawn, and to my dismay, we really didn't have a lot of sixth grade pieces with a ton of percussion. So I must thank Ms. Schmidt from Lake Parr, who gave me actually 2 of our pieces tonight, and this one, which has so many percussion parts on it. So she really helped us out by giving us some of the music. So thank you so much, Ms. Schmidt. She's back there. The last piece is actually about a Greek god and a mythology story, and they've done such a nice job just making it fun. And it's been very challenging, a lot of isolated things here or there, and we worked very hard on it. And so I'm very proud of it. So thank you so much again to 6th grade band. Thank you for coming out. Here we go. And Morpheus is our last piece. We are now going to switch over to our jazz band.
All right, welcome to all of these smiling faces. This is incredible. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mr. Stella. I direct the jazz band at Brooklawn as well as the 7th and 8th grade bands. And this is so nice to see so many people here to support the bands at Brooklawn. It's kind of been one of my goals since I got to Brooklawn 6 years ago to have a band concert with all of the bands on it. But we were never able to do it because we can't fit this many people in the cafeteria at Brooklawn. And it's a very big ordeal to move a concert to a different location, so we didn't want to do that. Until this year's 6th grade band was too big to fit on our stage. And so we had to do that. And so out of necessity came this wonderful big celebration of all the bands at Brooklawn. So it's a really, really nice thing. And for me, because I was the band director at Parsippany High School for 12 years before I came to Brooklawn, and we always had two bands there, a concert band and a wind ensemble, two different levels. And the nice thing is we would always perform on the same concert so they'd get to see each other. Unfortunately, doing 3 separate band concerts at Brooklawn is very difficult to get somebody to come out to 2 other band concerts that they're not playing on. And so we very often had smaller attendances than I would like. But it's great to be able to have each of the 3 bands here see each other and really support each other as one big band family. And it was quite an ordeal to get here today. We had our dress rehearsal, first time ever doing this with 250 students, busing them over in the middle of the school day, of course in the rain today. And I apologize for any of you who were sitting in a place and kind of got displaced. We were supposed to not have anybody come in here as early, but I guess because of the rain there was no place to go, and next time I'll make sure to tape off all the rows, not just for the 6th grade band. But we do appreciate your attendance tonight, and this is the jazz band behind me, and we are an out-of-school group. We only meet a couple times a month, and it is purely voluntary, and the students practice the music on their own. Like I said, we have a couple of rehearsals a month, and we focused on America's own style of music, which is jazz. So we're going to just take a minute to do a quick warm-up, and then I'll be right back with you. So here we go. This is the Brooklawn Middle School Jazz Band. We're going to start things off with Mac the Knife, and this will feature soloists both on alto sax by Scott Hilsinger and Kunal Chauhan. All right, we're going to finish up our jazz band set with the classic Summertime by George Gershwin from Porgy and Bess, and this is going to feature trumpet soloist Sidney Spindler. Summertime. Thank you very much, and now we're going to transition to our 7th grade band. portion of tonight's concert. I would like to really just give a huge thank you to the two band directors here at Parsippany Hills, Mr. Iapika and Ms. Christensen, for going above and beyond to set everything up in the pit and on stage at 6:45 this morning with a bunch of Tri-M Honors members from the Parsippany Hills Band. So just let's get a round of applause for all of them. We were not able to get in here last week, so everything had to be done at the very last minute. So we really appreciate them getting this all set up for us so that when we came over here, everything was just ready to go. So our 7th grade band is going to start with a piece called Shackleford Banks, which it's a tale of wild mustangs, as it says in the subtitle, which is really true. It's about an uninhabited island off the Outer Banks of North Carolina, which in 1998 was going to, well, there were wild horses that roamed the island, but no people. And so they were going to ship the horses somewhere else. And a group of people protested and basically said, no, let's keep them there. And they won. And the horses were able to stay and roam free to this day. So you can hear some of the majesty and the beauty of the horses put into J-Bo Cook's music about this Shackleford Banks. And it almost sounds a little bit like a Western, you figure with the horses. But we hope you enjoy. And it starts out with a beautiful flute solo by Caitlin Lynn. This is Shackleford Banks. Thank you very much. The band has been dealing with a lot with our transition here. Usually when we have a concert, we rehearse on our stage at Brooklawn for the week prior to the concert so we can get used to the different acoustics and everything. We unfortunately didn't have that luxury this time, and some of the students are actually going above and beyond with extraordinary circumstances such as the percussion and some of our larger instrument people, because the percussionists are all using instruments that they've never played on because they're not ours, they're actually from the hills. And there are some people that you may see on tubas and bass clarinets and bari saxes being handed off, like we're running different kind of plays or something. It's because we don't have enough instruments for everybody right now that we actually own. So we're sharing things, and some of them didn't even get a full warm-up on their instrument tonight. But we're doing the best we can, and we hope you really are appreciating the effort that they're all making tonight. Before the Star Spangled Banner became our national anthem, the song Chester by William Billings was thought of as an unofficial anthem of the American colonies. We're now going to play Wally Johnson's A Fantasy on Chester, which puts the well-known melody through a series of variations. Thank you very much. Mr. Jenkins spoke about students switching over to different instruments before, and certainly in 6th grade we get the most switches. Usually we've had a lot in 7th and 8th grade as well, but we've done well the last couple of years switching them earlier, and we haven't had to get as many people to switch over. But it's very brave of the students to just try something completely new, and we really appreciate it. This year I'd like to recognize our 2 French horns in the 7th grade band, AJ Asuncion and Lennon Fitzgerald, who are playing the French horn in concert for the very first time tonight. appreciate that because it gives us a much better balance and makes the band more enjoyable for them and for you. A Childhood Hymn is David Holsinger's arrangement of the classic children's hymn, and it has become kind of a staple in the young band literature. Slow and expressive playing can very often be the most difficult to master for a young band. And this piece offers many challenges, including intense sustained passages, rubato, which is where the music flows in and out of time, accidentals, modulation, and a wide range of dynamics. So we hope you enjoy A Childhood Hymn. Earlier this fall, I had the pleasure of working with Eric Lampin, who is a student, or was a student at Rutgers University for music education. He did his student teaching with me and the 7th and 8th grade bands at Brooklawn. And even though he is officially done with his schooling, he was good enough to come back for a couple of rehearsals this past week and to conduct on the concert tonight. So he's actually going to come out here tonight to finish up our 7th grade set with a piece called Incantation and Ritual by Brian Bowmages. And he's going to start off the 8th grade band with the National Emblem March. So I'd like to, at this point, introduce Mr. Eric Lampman.
a little, this has been my project this semester with the 8th grade band. I first discovered this piece down in Country Lane last year when we had Bands of Partroy West, which is actually coming up, it's on your programs, and the concert band did such a beautiful job playing this piece. And then we were reading music at the end of the year with the 8th grade band. I was like, oh my gosh, here it is. And we read it, and I was like, okay, I might want to try to do that next year. So again, I had the very fortunate experience of going to Chicago, and well, we'll get into that in a second. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this piece because I really educated them on this one. The piece is by Aaron Copland, who's a famous composer who originally conceived this piece as a work for piano. The work was first arranged for piano for younger players, so that way they could experience a very famous composer. Copland used the Tender Land, the opera, and he said he also composed other famous tunes such as Fanfare for the Common Man, Quiet City, and Lincoln Portrait, and some of his most famous works are from the ballets Appalachian Spring, Billy the Kid, and Rodeo. This theme, which you will hear a lot in the piece, was inspired by his work writing the film score for a 1945 Office of War documentary about Eastern European refugees who relocated to Cummington, Massachusetts. The refugees moved into a small town trying to make a better life and a new home. So, as I said, I went to the Midwest Music Clinic, and this man was a very prominent band director. He actually founded the College Wind Ensemble where I went to school, and I've read almost every one of his books, or I am reading almost every one of his books, and it's highly respected. Gave a seminar on this piece, and I was happy because I walk in, and next thing I know, he's talking about Down a Country Lane, which is a piece I had studied. So you'll hear this theme coming back and forth throughout it. It's a very tough piece tonally in terms of intonation and how the band sounds, but it's a very easy piece in terms of technicality, which means that the band is actually very able to grasp the piece, like, playing-wise. So we worked very hard. I had them singing. I actually put them over into the choir one day. They were horrified to sing. We sang chorales. We sang the piece, and I'm hoping it works out nice now. The other thing that Frank Battisti talked about in his seminar was when you study a piece, you got to find a visual representation of what it means to you. And so instead of me finding visual representation, I thought it would be awesome if the band members could find their own. So I gave them the challenge of going out online and finding pictures of country lanes that represents the piece to them. So what you'll see over here as we play, I ask you to try to watch as much as you can, are all these pictures that the band members submitted to me to put into a PowerPoint for you to see. So without further ado, here's Down a Country Lane. As Aaron Copland said, strengthens between people, breaks down when they live and work and meet together as neighbors. So thank you. It was a beautiful, beautiful time.
John Williams is a great American composer who's written countless scores for blockbusters such as Superman, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, Jaws, and many others. He also composed music for several Olympic Games, as well as themes for NBC's Nightly News and The Today Show. The trilogy we will perform now includes Welcome to Jurassic Park, the theme from Schindler's List, and Raiders March.
So as I let them set up back there, this is going to be our final piece, but I first wanted to thank so many people for making this happen. First of all, thank you to all the parents and friends who came out tonight to support our kids. It's very important in the music program and the success of our music program here in Parsippany to have your support. So I thank you so much for supporting them and allowing them to have this skill and experience for them to really enjoy for the rest of their lives. The next thing I want to thank is all of our elementary teachers who just prepare them to get into middle school, keep them and really start their adventure in music, and it's very important to have all of those elementary teachers, so I can't thank them enough. The PHHS custodial staff and the BMS custodial staff, I mean, I don't know what I would do. I have, every other Wednesday we have a combined rehearsal, second period, and they don't have to help me, but they help me set up 110 chairs every other Wednesday, and I can't thank them enough because I don't think I could do it at all without them. So, yeah. Thank you so much to the high school directors here, Mike Iapika and Michelle Christensen. In fact, Ms. Christensen, can you please come out here? Take a bow. Planning this concert up here, it's the first time we've done it, and there's definitely, it was a little tough, but they came in this morning for our dress rehearsal at 6:45 and set up the stage for us. So I don't know, if we had come up here with everybody, we wouldn't have been able to make that happen. So without them, this wouldn't have happened, so thank you so much. And last but not least, our administration, Dr. Betts, Chris Keegan, Mike Nicosia, and Pan Friend, all of you who support us all the time to get us the instruments we need, to get us the money we need to make this happen, and to really, allow us to give the best experience to our kids. Me and Mr. Stella cannot thank you enough, so thank you so much. So the last piece of the concert is Rampage, and it's exactly as it sounds. The first descriptor of the piece is, it says, with reckless abandon. And the first time the band played the piece, their eyes were like what the heck? So, and we worked really hard at it, and I think it sounds really great. So I'm just not going to say any more. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I look forward to seeing you at future events, and have a good night.